All right, everybody. I am here today with a very special guest and co-host. Sitting right next to me, I have Brady Hiestand, UFC bantamweight fighter, Jiu-Jitsu mixed martial artist, volunteer firefighter. When the time he does have, it's not training. He was on season, 29?
29, yeah.
29 of The Ultimate Fighter, which is, it's just crazy. We have like another Spokane living legend down in here. And then also with me today, I have the great Bambi as my co-host.
Yes, just fucking just watching you guys do your fucking thing because you guys are killing it out here. And yeah, just excited for the whole fight scene out here. You guys creating content and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Spokane's popping off again. I feel like, it started with Juliana, Sam, and Mike. They were like the first wave, and now I think we have a whole new wave coming through with, me, Terrence, Saeed's up here now, and I think we got a lot of guys like Ashton and Melissa coming up through the ranks that are going to be in the UFC soon.
And it's crazy because it's not like there's something to having another generation to follow suit and kind of take the place, but like Juliana and Mike are still doing the damn thing.
Oh, for sure.
Juliana's the champion of the world.
Yeah.
Like they're still in their prime. And they have these like little cadets that they're building and help bring up. That's also going to be right there with them. I think that's pretty unique and pretty badass.
Yeah, for sure. Me and Ashton say it all the time. It's like staying on the back of giants. You can take what they've learned and, add it to your life and kind of grow from it. And we have such an advantage having those guys to follow suit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we'll jump right into it. When was kind of the first time that you got introduced to them personally and started training with them and kind of realized that they were showing the path to ultimate greatness? Like everybody that wants to be a fighter wants to fight in the UFC, but as we know, not many people get that opportunity. What was it like meeting them and understanding that there was a way and somebody that you actually knew, that you grew up with, that came from the same place you did, made it to where everybody wants to be?
Yeah, so that's actually a good question because I haven't thought about that in a while. But like now thinking back on it, the first person I met, out of Mike, Sam, and Julie was actually Juliana. And when I think I was like 14 or 15, she came because I actually wasn't training at SICK at that point. I was just at a jiu-jitsu school more or less. Mm-hmm. And so she actually came through and I was actually grappling with her. And I remember I was like, oh, I get to go with the girl, like didn't really know a whole lot because I was like only 15. I didn't really know a lot about UFC or what she had done. So I was like, oh, nice, I get an easy round. And then I get taken down by this chick and like I'm trying to guillotine her and she's like pressuring with her shoulder. And I sat there for like 2 minutes hating life.
Just getting crushed
by this lady. And I'm like, dude, why is she so tough? And then I went and looked her up and I'm like,
that
makes a little bit, it makes a little bit more sense. Made me feel a little bit better about myself,
She's been in the game for so long. I went back and I watched all the Conquest of the Cages, like literally every single one of your fights. And you had a crazy run in Conquest of the Cage. And Juliana Pena, I don't know if you were at the last Northern Quest fights, and Chance Haskins fought in the main event.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm watching a fight from 2013 of Chance Haskins, and Juliana Pena's in his corner, like coaching him through the fight. And it's just like, it's crazy to see like all these fighters and how long they've been doing it. And yeah, really just how involved she's been with the whole fight scene, and now to see her become champion is just like,
yeah, well, that kind of shows how much of a fight town Spokane is. And big credits to Rick Little because obviously he's the promoter of Conquest of the Cage. He's our coach, and all of us, me, Mike, Julie, Sam, all those guys, we all came up through Rick. And so he's a big proponent of getting us to the UFC. And I think we owe a lot to him, the Spokane scene in general.
Even Creme 2 did a story, Fight Sound. Did you watch that on YouTube?
Of course, yeah, I got to. If I'm from SICK, I got to watch all that shit.
Yeah. I moved out here from California, so that documentary was like so inspirational to me. Like, and this came out in 2018, so this was before Juliana even made her run, which is even more crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just watching what Rick has done, over the past decade is just unbelievable. Like, it's crazy.
It is cool. Yeah. And he's still doing it, right? Like you said, like Mike and Julie are still doing it. Same with Rick. He's still making it happen.
So talking about fighters being around a long time and doing their thing and having a 10-year run, we're catching you kind of right in the thick of it. I know you took your first fight when you were 16 years old. Is that right?
Yeah. Just right at the end of my 16th year.
Yeah. Which is crazy young. And like I said, you're still just a young buck, but you're making a splash. You're making the splash early, and you're really getting after it. What got you involved, and how did this first fight come about? What made you want to You get into a cage in your underwear and go fight somebody.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, right? We get like half naked and go out there and just scrap it out. I think what really was the first step is I was always a scrappy kid, and I always like was super competitive. You asked my brother growing up, it was like arguments. It's like, Brady, not everything's a competition kind of a thing.
But it is.
It is. It's all competition, dude. I'm trying to win. And but I was always super competitive. I would get in fights in school and stuff like that. And so my parents didn't obviously want me to get in trouble. And so they got me into boxing and all kickboxing and stuff when I was a little bit younger. And I didn't take to it until I started doing jiu-jitsu. And then once I started doing jiu-jitsu, I kind of fell in love with jiu-jitsu first. And then it kind of made me build off that and start loving MMA and everything that went with it. And so my parents were actually the biggest part. Like the first boxing lesson I went with my mom.
Nice.
Which is kind of funny, and so she knows my whole story. And then my dad was like a big supporter of me training all the time. He would come to every practice. I even had a boxing match, I think, when I was like 12. And so he was like always in my corner, everything like that. And so when he passed away when I was 15, it was like one of those things that I could relate. And like every time I would train, it kind of made me feel close with him because he was such a big part of that. And so I think, my dad was a huge driving force, my mom, and then just me being hella competitive. Yeah. And so I felt like I was doing good. I was feeling like I was doing really good in the gym. And so I asked my coach, at the time, I was like, hey, why don't we do an MMA fight? And he's like, sure. And so, being the good coach he got me matched up with a 27-year-old.
At 16?
At 16. And so I went out there. I didn't win, but we had a good showing. And, then after that, honestly, I think the loss was like the best thing that could happen to me because I was like, I can't go out there and be a guy that's 0-1. Yeah. I can't leave the sport being a loser. Yeah. So I was like, I got to go get another win. And then I'm like, well, I can't be a 50-50 fighter. I got to go get another win. And then I'm like, I can't have those odds where I'm only got 2 wins and 1 loss. That's horrible. So I had to go get another win. And then at that point, I was like, well, I'm already in it. And I feel like I was good at it and I loved it. So just kept going with it.
Yeah. Where was your first fight?
So it was actually in Spokane. It was at the Hub at Warrior Camp. They put on the show. It was all amateur. Mm-hmm. So it was at the Hub.
Yeah,
on a basketball court.
Those were the good days. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a throwback, eh?
Yeah, coming around to completely different. What were the biggest differences from that very first fight at the Hub to the Ultimate Fighter fighting in the Apex Center with the best in the world, watching you with the best referees, Dana White's there front row? What's kind of the biggest difference from not like the preparation, who you're fighting, but just like you standing there in the cage? What did it feel like differently from your very first one in the middle of nowhere in Liberty Lake to Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, give a little context. Like, so the Hub fights, they're all amateur, and it's literally in this big basketball arena with a bunch of basketball courts, right? And so they literally just section off a piece of it and they put a cage on the basketball court. And so then there's like 400 people there. And so it's pretty cool, honestly, as setup. But going from that to being in the Ultimate Fighter house where there's actually only like 20 people in the crowd. So it's weird because it's actually way more quiet and you can hear your corners and all that stuff. The only thing that's different is the canvas says UFC on it. And you look to the right and you see fucking Herb Dean and you're reffing, and then you look to your left and you see Dana White and Sean Shelby watching you fight. So it was pretty surreal. And I think it was just it felt good. It made me feel like that was like my dream, right? You said earlier, it's your dream to fight in the UFC and put on a show for the crowd on that national television. So it literally felt so good to finally be in a cage like that.
Oof, I bet.
Yeah, made it all seem worth it.
How much inspiration have you taken from like Mike Chiesa and Juliana Pena and what they've done in the UFC, and now you're making your run? Or how much? Just what have they taught you? What have maybe they've had certain experiences, of course, because they've had their UFC runs, and maybe kind of trying to set you up for the most success that you can possibly have?
Yeah, especially on the Ultimate Fighter, because obviously they won both their seasons.
Yeah.
And so going into that, it's crazy because like I asked so many different things, and they helped me with my mindset. Obviously, you're in there without any of your friends or family, and when I went in, I was 21, so that was the longest I'd been away from my family, let alone not even talk to them. Mm-hmm. So I'd only been away for like a week at a time or something like that. So to go away for 2 months, 3 months, and not even be able to talk to my family, it was kind of a crazy experience. But I think it I think it made me grow up really fast, and it was kind of a good experience because it kind of made me realize what my goals were and what I wanted to do with my life. Because, like you were saying, I was, a resident firefighter at the time, and I was like, my life was on a few different paths, but it kind of narrowed my focus and made me kind of fall in love with the sport all over again.
I feel like the Ultimate Fighter has changed a lot over the course of the last 20 years, like the Ultimate Fighter 10, or not 20 years, but like 10, 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like more, I feel like, hey, get these guys a bunch of alcohol and get them drunk. And it's more like a reality TV series, like Real World or something like that. I feel like now it's more professional. It's more kind of just by the script. You know what I'm saying? Is that true? Or how was your experience in the Ultimate Fighter? Like, what were some of the things you noticed, just being a part of that?
I look at the old seasons. I think you're right. They're like trying to make it look a little bit more professional, make us look like good people.
There's no Chris Lieben pissing on beds.
I mean, I think that's part of who they pick, and then also what they show. Because that was one of the things I was bummed with when they showed
nobody pissed on your bed.
No. That they didn't show some of the funny stuff. Like there was a part in the season where Ryder and Brian like streaked through Brian Ortega's practice, and I'm like, this is gonna be so funny when it comes out in the episodes. They didn't show it.
Oh no, that's gold.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this would have been perfect. Or like Trey Sean was going around and like hugging Ryder before they fight. He's like, let me feel your power, bro. And like for like 2 hours they're just following each other around the house, like locking up, like
my gosh.
body lock. And I'm like, dude, this is gonna be hilarious when it comes out. But I think like you were saying, they're trying to make us look a little bit more like professional athletes.
It's ESPN. I feel like it's on ESPN Plus.
Not
It's
Spike,
owned by
RIP to
Disney.
Spike TV.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's that
That's
Disney
it.
Plus.
Yeah. You want? I'm obviously I'm more of a fan of the more adult themed. Like get these
it's
guys
cage
as drunk,
fighting,
get
of course.
Kimbo Slice in there and fucking let him, get down a bottle of tequila and let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you a funny story from the season, and this reminded me of it, and they didn't show this either. So, Howlerhead is obviously, Dana White's whiskey, and so one of the guys that was on my team, Scrappy, Dustin Lampros, he lost in the first round, but it was a good fight and all that stuff. But he was in the house, and he thought it'd be super funny. So like Ryder and a few other guys that were in the house had drinking almost all of the bottle of Howlerhead because they always got alcohol. And so what Scrappy did is he filled it up with water and then put some dye in it. And so when all the people came over, all the coaches and everything, he busted it out, looked like a full bottle of Howlerhead, and chugged the whole thing.
Oh,
yeah, it was.
And they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, everyone thought, and then everyone's like, "Dude, are you okay?" Because obviously he drank like a fifth alcohol to himself in one sitting, and so everyone's just like astonished. And then we go to the coaches challenge. It all happens, and Dana White walks up to Scrappy. He's like, "I heard what you did." Gives him $5,000.
No shit.
Yeah, he's like, "You crazy motherfucker!" Gives him $5,000, and I'm like, "What?"
And it was just water. He was just hydrating himself.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, he just was hydrating himself, and everyone. And no one. I don't even think he told anybody, but Dana
That's
thought
legendary.
that is legendary, honestly.
So they
Shout out
didn't even
Dana
show
White.
that either.
No, they didn't show it. I was like, that would have been a good thing to show.
Yeah, good Howlerhead commercial.
Exactly, Dana White represent.
Shout out Dana White.
Yeah, Howlerhead.
Have you been in the same room as Dana White and have like working on negotiations, or has that all been through like a management type situation?
No, not yet. Obviously this is my first fight officially with UFC. Yeah, the rest was with Tough, and so I haven't really had the opportunity to really do any negotiations because obviously I was on the show, and so that was its whole thing. And you sign a contract, and that's where you get your contract through. So I haven't officially done that, but I see in the near future at some point.
I'm a fan of Dana White. I know a lot of people don't like him, but what he's been able to do over the past 20 years with the UFC is just, it's a legitimate sport now. And a lot of fighters complain about pay, but it's like you don't understand the overhead that the UFC has. I feel like, like there's so much that goes into the marketing, the everything that you can't compare it to something like boxing and where these guys are making huge amounts of money and stuff like that. But
yeah, I'm not an accountant. I don't know the math. So, maybe one day I'll sit down and like look at the X's and O's, but at this point I don't know enough about it to say.
Are you able to say how much you made in your first fight?
Yeah, I made 15. It was 15 and 15. So.
And are you able to say how much you're going to make for this next fight that you have?
Yeah, I don't really care. It's the same 15 and 15.
15 and 15. Your first fight, not in the UFC. Like your first fight.
Oh, nothing.
Yeah, the
It's
first
just for
most
free.
of them are for free, amateur baby.
Yeah, for sure.
Amateurs
Amateur,
don't
nothing.
they don't get paid at all.
Nothing.
No.
Wow.
There was
That's
one show I
unbelievable.
fought at King of the Cage for Coeur d'Alene, and they gave you ticket sales money. You got like
Oh,
25% of a ticket that you sell, and I think I made like $520 on
yeah.
ticket
Once-
sales.
once you go pro,
that's
then-
all that I've ever got on
So
amateurs.
Once you go pro, then that's when they start.
Yeah,
having
but
to
for
pay.
instance, like I for my second pro fight, I took a short notice fight in Vegas for a promotion called FFC, and I took it on like a week and a half notice. Fought this tough guy from Extreme Couture. I ended up winning, and that was my biggest payout, and I made $3,500.
Yeah.
And so, like, and I feel like if you like for all the people that are coming up as fighters, and everyone knows this, it's like until you get to a big promotion, all of it is an investment. You know, you're building your record, you're investing in yourself, you're betting
Very
on
much
that.
so.
Yeah, you're betting on yourself. You're gonna get to that big promotion.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so the first few fights, you can't expect to get paid really anything. And you know, a lot of people have to do like fucking medicals and all that stuff. So you're actually
all out of
losing.
your own pocket. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're actually losing money. A lot of people are.
Yeah, you have to pay for your license, an eye exam, a physical, this and that, blood work, this, like all this other stuff that, you know, when you're a kid watching it on TV, you're like, oh, I want to be a fighter. I want to be just like that guy. You don't think about this stuff. You don't think about negotiating your price on your fight. You don't think about going to the doctors out of your own pocket in your own time. Like nobody's going to be doing that for you at that point.
Yeah,
Like
but
it's crazy.
But it's just like any other job. You gotta either go to school for it. Like if it's a job worth something, you usually got to go to school, pay money, all that stuff. And so that that's how I look at it. Like my mom is pretty much a doctor. She's a nurse practitioner in the ER, and she spent 10 years in school. And so she spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get her degree.
It's an investment.
And investing in herself, and then now she makes good money, set up really nice, good paychecks. And so that's when I was coming up. That's what I was thinking about. I'm just investing myself,
Yeah.
trying to build my record, all this stuff. So eventually, one day,
So you said doctor. That's going to bring me to something I wanted to talk about. Dr. Dylan Lamry. So you had
the myth, the
surgery
legend.
just about like almost exactly a year ago on your knee, right? Full ACL. You got your meniscus fixed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were in The Ultimate Fighter, you were jacked. You're obviously a professional athlete, mixed martial artist. But now, like, you're a fucking man now. Like, you're jacked. Like, the transformation in just a year is incredible. I was showing him before, and I'll post the pictures up side by side. But that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed on you and like following your social media and stuff is like you've transformed your body. Obviously, that means you're working a lot harder. You're changing how you're working because it's not like you weren't working hard before.
Yeah.
Now you've changed up your tactics. You're working harder. You're probably eating better. What are some of the differences, and what has Dr. Lamry done for you that has changed everything?
Yeah. So, like I said, when I was on the show, I spent a lot of time like looking at myself, like inter perspective, and so I realized that I wasn't putting my all into this career, and so when I got out, I kind of set myself like, this is all I'm all in. This is all I care about. This is all I'm going to focus on. And so when I got out, Dylan Lemry had worked with Mike Hiestand before, and so he linked us up together. And so Dylan, like you said, he's a doctor, he's a PT, so he runs us through a program, and I work out with him 3 days a week. I've worked on my diet, like you said. I eat well. My girlfriend, she helps me meal prep for my
Clutch.
exactly. It's honestly the best, and the UFC PI is a big help too. And so they send me meals and all that good stuff. And so just everything's a lot more dialed in, and I feel like I focus way more on everything and making sure everything's lined up really well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. He's the man. He helps me, Ashton, Melissa. He's worked with Mike for a number of years, and he works with Terrence too.
Dope. Yeah, that was cool to see. It really just stood out. Especially, like I said, from the Ultimate Fighter picture to the last one you posted, I was just like, holy shit.
Thank you, brother. I
It's
appreciate
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
How often do you train at the PI and take advantage of what they're offering there?
I try to get down there as much as possible. They do a lot of testing, and so they see where I'm deficient at. So like one of the things is I've always had like a really good gas tank, and I'm really, I can always push the pressure and push the pace. But one of the things is sometimes I wasn't as explosive because I would always, train all the time, and sometimes I didn't have that explosivity, I think is what they say. And so one of the things I brought back and what me and Dylan work on is just being super explosive, trying to get that knockout power, and
There you go.
flaring doubles and all that good stuff.
I mean, I watched your Ultimate Fighter season finale. I mean, if you haven't watched that fight, please do yourself a favor and go watch the season finale of the Ultimate Fighter 29, because you guys literally put it all on the line, back and forth war, and just how was the parade? How much, like, what was the reaction backstage after that fight?
I was pretty devastated, so I wasn't really caring what anyone else is doing. I wanted to win so bad, and that's, I think that's what sets our team apart, is we want to win. And so the fact that I didn't win, it was just heartbreaking.
And you had all that extra pressure too with Juliana and Mike being your teammates, also winning. You're like, fuck, like, I'm not, you probably thought to yourself, like, I'm not as good as they are. They like that. So that probably had to be looming in your head too.
Yeah. Well, and I think I don't look at that as pressure. I look at that like support, like, damn, they're like behind me, helping me out. And so I don't view that as pressure, because at the end of the day, I'm creating my own path. I got my own future in the sport and stuff like that. They're just there, an added bonus. But yeah, I was devastated, and so that was hard for me to go back. And even though it was a really good fight, yeah, it just hurt.
I don't think anybody lost that in that fight. You guys both looked amazing.
And
nobody's stock went down. I think both of you guys deserve a bonus, if anything, for that fight.
Yeah. And we did get a bonus.
Awesome. Yeah.
And like I said, look at you now. You're still fighting in the UFC. Like,
exactly. And that was
the Ultimate Fighter is to get to the big show, and win or loss, I mean, you still got there. So
exactly. And then I just get to build off that. So now I get to go out there and I'm going to win my fights and kind of build from there. And I look at these people like Rose Namajunas and all these guys that maybe didn't win their season, but came back and made a legacy that no one can match. So that's the goal I'm trying to make, is come back and redeem myself.
Just like your very first fight was a loss, and look at you now, you're fighting in the UFC. So
exactly,
this is just kind of the next chapter, and then just going to build off of it now.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask another thing. There are two main big gyms in Spokane, I feel like, Warrior Camp and Sig Jitsu. What has been the training like between the two gyms? Are the two gyms cordial? Is there some underlining, like, fighters not maybe getting along or anything like that? Or is everything cool? And I don't know. I'm just trying to...
It's like, I think, I don't have any beef with anyone at either gym. I think we get along pretty well. Like, obviously, I talk to Pablo sometimes. He messages me, I message him. I'm obviously really good friends with Terrence, because we used to train together back when he was at SICK. Me and Josh, even though we fought obviously on the Ultimate Fighter, we're hella tight. We still train together every once in a while. And I have no bad blood with any of them. And I think, I think they got a good thing going. I think we got a good thing going. But yeah, I don't see a big issue with Warrior Camp and SICK.
And Rick Little, he's going to be in your corner for this fight.
1,000%, yeah.
100%. And yeah, just how has the process been with Rick Little in your corner, basically with coming up under his wing, like with Ashton too, man. Ashton is doing crazy things. Shout out Ashton. He's up next. I feel like he'll be making his UFC debut here shortly.
For sure.
But yeah, just the whole process of working with Rick and using what he's already been able to accomplish in the UFC, and kind of just seeking all of that knowledge that he has,
Yeah, Rick's the man. He's the one who kind of like he's obviously my head coach. He, when I went to start training at SICK, I was already doing a lot of jiu-jitsu, but what I've learned going to SICK is being a little bit more, I guess you'd say, just like rough and tough. You gotta grind it out. And so when I went there, I was, I would settle for bottom, pull guard, try to get guillotine, all this stuff. And after being there, we worked on a lot of my techniques, especially with the stand up, but with the grappling was making sure I get on top, making sure I learned how to wrestle really well, making sure that I'm not losing these positions, and I fight tooth and nail to make sure I don't lose any position. So that was the biggest thing. And it's a mentality. I think it's a mentality all of us at SICK have. It's just like, you see when Julie fights, you see when Mike fights,
just nasty.
Nasty. We're like down to like get hit, but we're going to hit you 10 times harder, kind of a thing. And we're going to go out there and we're going to fight to the bitter end. And you saw that in Julie's fight with Amanda. She wasn't winning the fight, but she was there every second, and she was throwing up submissions to the very end, and she was there to fucking win.
Number one bantamweight in the world still, and there will be a trilogy, and she will have an opportunity, I feel like, to win that title back.
1,000%.
And Chiesa too. I feel like Chiesa's not done either. You know, he's
still top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Like, he just needs to get the right fights lined up, and he'll be right there too. And then who else do you have coming out of SIG? Like, I feel like there's a couple more fighters who are like right there.
Yeah, so we got obviously Ashton. He's been killing it. He's got heavy hands, and he's getting really good at the grappling. Melissa Maya, so she's one of our girls, and she's good everywhere. And she just actually won her fight in Combate. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. And so she's 5-0 now. You know, coming up the ranks. She's gonna fight a couple more times in Combate, and then I see her going to the UFC and making moves. We got another guy, Alvin. You know, Alvin. He's fought for a while, but now he's gone pro, and I think he's 2-0. 2-0 now as a pro, and he's a savage. He's a 125er. And
he's yoked.
He's so yoked, bro. It's ridiculous. Honestly, I've never seen someone with a belly. Like, when he's out of season, he has a belly, but it's all abs.
But there's like, eight little bellies in there.
Dude, I know. It's like a turtle shell. I'm like, bro, what the hell? And he is so hard to hold on to, and he's so fast with his hands. He's like a little fast twitch.
Yeah.
And
a lot to work with there, huh?
A lot to work with. And he's worked on so much stuff. Like, you know, a lot of guys that are fast twitch and move a lot will get tired, but he's been training so much recently that he doesn't even get tired. Yeah. So he's going to be a problem. That's huge. Yeah, he's going to be a problem for anyone that he fights.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, SIG's got it figured out. They can pluck the potential right out of the crowd and work with it and mold it. And Rick Little's got something crazy going on there.
Yeah, and we're all trying to make each other better. So I think that's a big part. Is like we're all here to build each other up. It's not like
that's huge.
It's not like a gym where it's like I'm trying to beat you and just prove that I'm better. It's like we're building each other up, even though we get down and throw hands.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's if I can make you better, you made me better. That's a win. So
exactly.
I think it's cool to have people like Hiestand and Penny to kind of like show you that correct path too. So what's kind of like your day-to-day like looking like right now as far as training goes?
Yeah, so it's actually a little bit different than usual because my fights start at 10 a.m. on Saturday the 19th. Oh. Yeah, so I'm going to be fighting earlier. I don't know where I'm at in the card. They haven't officially announced it. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of morning sessions. So like today I went and did a wrestling practice at noon. And then so I train. So for instance, I do MMA every night at 6 or 7, one of the two. And so I always get that in 5 days a week, no matter what. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go with Dylan. And we usually go in the morning, and I'll go and do some SNC, and we run through our program, do a little bit of that, some, cardio on the air bike, which sucks. And then Tuesday, Thursday, I usually go and do jiu-jitsu, and then Saturday, I find a time to go do MMA, and then do a little bit of jiu-jitsu as well. And then, it's kind of hard because it's, I play it by ear, but I always try to find like 3 days where I go for like a 4-mile run.
There you go. Just the grind. There's something about road work that's going to be tried and true for
sure.
Combat sports, where it's you get on the road, you're by yourself. There's nobody but you. You're pushing yourself. You're getting those steps in and getting them pounds off.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing. It helps me get the weight down. Yeah, like nothing like running to like break a sweat and burn calories. Right?
Yeah. Classic.
And cardio is literally one of the best weapons you can have, I feel like, in mixed martial arts.
For sure.
Like, if you can put it on somebody and just last longer than they can at that high level, that's going to take you very far.
What is it? It's the first round is person with the most skill. Second round is the person with the most, the most cardio, and the third round is the person with the most heart. It's like that. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think that's lovely. Very well said. This is a great point. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You were just saying you just bought yourself a house?
Yeah, so one of the things, like when I was... So give a little backstory. When I was, I think I was 19, I was living with my roommate, Colton, coolest kid ever. He does parkour and stuff, taught me how to do backflip, really cool guy. But I was in a spot where I was like, I wasn't, making a whole lot of money, and I was working and I was putting all this effort in. I'm like, dude, I don't like this anymore. And so I was like, what am I going to do so one day I can set myself up to where I don't have to worry about money? And so I started reading a bunch of financial books, and I read Dave Ramsey's book and a bunch of podcasts and stuff like that. And so what I took from it is like, you need to buy a house because 1, you can live in it, 2, you can rent it out so you don't have to spend a bunch of money on rent, and then 3, it grows in value. So I was like, okay, goal, get a house. Started saving, and so I got the opportunity because I had just started volunteering at a fire station. And so I just got through my EMT course, and I was, I was registered EMT, full volunteer firefighter. And I was like, they offered if any of us wanted to be residents. And so what you do is you work 5 24-hour shifts a month. You get a place to live, free rent, free laundry, all this stuff. So, yeah, so nothing, no expenses. So I was like, okay. So I moved out of my apartment and I moved in there just to stack cash. And so I was living there, and it also gave me the opportunity to train full time. So I thought as a win-win. So I started saving money, all this stuff, and then obviously I got on the Ultimate Fighter. And once I got the payout from that, I was like, now it's time to buy a house. And so after the Ultimate Fighter, obviously I had ACL surgery, meniscus surgery, and so I had a bunch of downtime. So I invested my time and went and found a house, got a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, and
Damn.
now I'm renting out to, I got my buddies, a bunch of my training partners living with me, and so house hacking it up, and that's where I'm at right now.
Dang, very smart. A lot different than your typical like cage fighter approach, especially from like somebody who doesn't really know the sport and doesn't view it as a sport. I'm just like this barbarian that's gonna go fight somebody. That's like wicked smart, and that's like a great way to set yourself up for success in the future.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I think a big thing is people don't realize how smart you got to be a good MMA fighter.
Oh yeah, it's like
there's
one of the best chess players,
exactly
especially at that high level.
Yeah, there's so much to go into it, like the diet, the wrestling, the striking, the weight cut, all this stuff has to go into it. So
what's the hardest part for you?
The hardest part for me, probably this weight cut. I love food. I'm a fat kid at heart. I love fried chicken. I love pizza. I love fries. I'm getting closer to the fight, so that's all I think about right now too. But yeah, I love food, and so just having to meal prep. Shout out to my girlfriend who helps me with that, and my mom, who's actually on top of being a doctor, is also a dietitian. And so she
got
helps.
the 1-2 punch right there,
dude. She is a superhero. She's super awesome, and then she's also taught me to be tough ever since I was young. She's like, she heard a interview that I did, I think like a week ago, and she's like, you gotta stop saying that I call you a pussy and stuff because it's gonna make me look bad. And I'm like, Mom, no, it doesn't make you look bad. It makes you look like
Mom, I was being a pussy. You're right.
Exactly. Because like I would get like hurt or something, she'd be like, quit being a pussy and go keep playing. Or after my surgery, I'd be like, oh, my leg's hurting. She's like, shut up.
You're literally better. You're gonna be fine.
Exactly.
What weight are you fighting at for this next fight?
135.
135. Is that what you normally fight at?
Yeah, so that's what the show was at. And I mean, before, a lot of my fights were at 45 or even 55, but that was regional scene because like we were talking about,
whatever you can get, basically.
Yeah, it's hard to get fights, first off, and two, you're not getting paid, so you don't want to kill yourself for a $200 payout.
Yeah.
What do you walk around at?
So usually that's the hard part because I'm getting older, and so like I said, I was on the Ultimate Fighter when I was 21, and I turned pro when I was 18. So it's since then to now, my body's grown. I've actually grown like 2 inches, and obviously filled out more.
You lucky, quit bragging, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so usually I'm like 160. And so I'll cut, down to 147-ish and then cut the water from there.
I did not miss that, boy.
Dude,
God damn.
Yeah, it's not the funnest part of the whole process. But, yeah, and then after my ACL surgery, sitting on the couch for a while, I got up to like 65.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey getting back, but,
Have you ever had any like really bad ones that you can remember?
Not really, no. I feel like I try to be professional with the whole process. And so I try to make sure my diet's on point so I get low enough. The UFC... So, like, the last time I had cut to 135 before the Ultimate Fighter, I would think I was 19. It was that short notice fight in Vegas I was talking about. And so, for that short notice fight, I was walking around 155. 145. And so, I was just so I was just smaller. So, the cut to 35 was nothing. And so, when I was getting ready for the Ultimate Fighter, Mike even said, this is funny because Mike was like, dude, you're fat right now. You need to start losing weight. And so that kind of like woke it up. I'm like, damn, I need to get my weight down. And so I started dieting, the wrong way, just cutting out food in general and just running a whole bunch. But once I got into the Ultimate Fighter, they have dietitians there and they have them at the PI and they do a water loading process, and that would change the game. And so it made my weight cut so easy.
This is what I'm saying when I say that people don't understand the UFC overhead when they're providing fighters with the UFC PI and all of these professional people to get their fighters in literally the best possible athletic shape that they can get. It's unbelievable. And to not take advantage of that, I think, is not a smart idea, but clearly you are taking advantage of it.
Yeah, might as well. I listen to the people in my corner. Obviously Mike takes advantage of it. Dylan, he's like, you got to use as much of the PI as possible.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I try to.
Yeah, if
What do
it's there.
Yeah.
What do you think about the UFC 135 division right now? The Sugar Sean just fought. You had the Aljamain Sterling just defended his title against TJ Dillashaw, had a blown out shoulder. It is what it is. But yeah, what do you think about 135 in the UFC right now?
Dude, it's exciting. You know, it's exciting to be a part of that division. I wanna fight these legends. It's gonna be great once I'm like to that level and I'm fighting, the Aljamain Sterlings. I'm fighting these Sugar Sean O'Malley, the TJ Dillashaws, and kind of building off their name and adding them to my resume. But yeah, it's exciting. Everyone's so good. And so it makes me want to work that much harder.
And it's crazy to see someone like Sugar Sean because I feel like he propelled through the division faster because of what he's doing with like social media and just being a bigger draw than your normal just, win type of guy, But yeah, I think you could take a lot from that just by doing the marketing, and taking that, making the UFC not have to like work so hard to promote you, you know what I'm saying? Like if you do that yourself, I feel like they kind of they want to put you in those top situations.
They're an entertainment industry, right? They want people they want to give the people what they want, and if you want to watch you fight, they're gonna put you in the position so
at the end of the day, it's how many butts you can get in the seats and how many pay-per-views you can sell.
Exactly.
That equals money. That equals money in your pocket, money in Uncle Dana's pocket, and that's what they're going for. It's a business at the end of the day. So
at the end of the day, yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, the biggest way to sell yourself is to win these fights.
Yeah.
And so that's my plan: is go out these and win these fights and put on good performances, and then that's what makes people want to watch you too.
Do you have anybody in mind that's going to be kind of a legacy coming out fight for you? Like I think Cody Garbrandt would be like insane, or like a name like that, because he's kind of on a skid where he's kind of hit or miss. I think it's kind of clear he's not going to be champion. He's kind of fought those ring bearers of that top upper echelon, but he still is a really big name. And if you can put somebody like when Israel Adesanya fought Anderson Silva, that was kind of his coming out party, where he put away a legend in spectacular fashion and was like, holy cow, like people that might not have heard this guy, but the guy that beat Anderson Silva, that's kind of how he was known to a lot of these people.
Yeah.
So do you have anybody in mind that you kind of have down the road where it might take you a couple fights, but within a year or 2 years, that's really nothing you're so young. 2 years is going to be gone by that.
Oh, for sure. And I haven't really thought of like a specific person, but obviously I'm like the biggest fan of the UFC. I feel like if you're going to be in the UFC and you're going to fight for the UFC, you got to be like, a hardcore fan. And so like I literally will have like a list of people. Like I said, Cody Garbrandt would be a good one. TJ Dillashaw.
Corey
Sandhagen would be crazy. That would be awesome.
If you're fighting any of these people, by the way, you have made it and you are going to Sizzler. You know what I'm saying? You are the guy if you are fighting any of these guys.
I think I'm not going to be happy until like I have a belt. I think that's when you made it. Is when you've like created like such a legacy that no one can like.
You're undeniable. At
exactly. I want to be undeniable, and I want to fight all these guys so they can all get the smoke.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm getting fired up. I want to go fight right now, dude.
Let's
Holy
go.
Shit!
Who are some of your inspirations, like growing up watching the UFC? Who are some guys that you take like style, maybe look at their style and kind of try to replicate that in the gym?
So like I definitely look at GSP. I think GSP is probably one of my biggest idols. Anderson Silva, those are the guys I used to watch with my dad. But yeah, the way that GSP could just mix it all together was incredible.
And no shit talk. There was no publicity behind it. Like growing up, this was before social media era. This was before like shit talk. This was before getting a viral video. It was who could show up and who could dominate and who could show out. Yeah. And those two were the best of all time at it.
Exactly. And it was that was ultimate. They were famous. They were at the top of the heap because they won fights and they won them like decisively.
They beat everybody twice.
Yeah, exactly. And if they lost, they came back and beat them again.
Yeah.
That's like GSP style.
Yeah, absolutely. He won the 185 title. It was like when he came back and won the 185 title. Now he might fight Jake Paul at this point. I feel like, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. After watching him, like what he was talking about when he was like doing the commentary or whatever, like the table work at that fight, seems like he doesn't want to fight.
I'd rather listen to him talk about aliens and dinosaurs and watch him fight again. I don't want his legacy to get tarnished.
Yeah. No, he's good where he's at, and he's just talking about fights.
Yeah.
Even Anderson Silva, it's tough to like see somebody who was so dominant in their prime, kind of just just that's the fight game, you know.
Yeah, well, he's like 47.
He's
right?
Yeah,
to still be
twice
doing
the
it,
age
yeah,
of fucking Jake Paul.
Yeah,
I don't hate Jake Paul. You know, I actually kind of like what he's doing.
He's getting that money, baby.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid. He's doing his thing. He's doing it better than a lot of guys are. So
yeah,
you can't knock him for what he's doing.
He's a businessman.
He's able to pick and choose who he fights too. So he's able to pick the best possible fight for him, the person with the biggest name, but he has the best chance to beat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
he's a
exactly.
businessman, I think.
I agree.
That's it.
That's it.
There's a reason why he's not fighting the best boxers in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you think, and like it makes sense, right? Like what did we do like when we were coming up? You slowly improve your the people you're fighting, right? As you get better, you start fighting better people, and then that builds your name and all that stuff. He's just like had such a big platform that he's doing it for everyone to see, so everyone gets to talk shit about it. But
yeah, everybody's just jealous.
yeah, but who's tuning in? Everyone else. So,
Everybody.
Yeah.
And just like the Floyd Mayweather days, half the people wanted to see him win that were fans. The other half, the people that bought the pay-per-view, wanted to see him get whooped.
Yeah, exactly.
But guess what? You're still buying the pay-per-view. You're still giving them money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think Nate Diaz is next for him.
Yeah, I think
for Paul, didn't they get like into some little scuffle backstage or something?
Oh, I didn't see
course.
that. I just
I
saw
would
him
have been more
talking about it.
surprised if that didn't happen. To be honest, like of course Nate's gonna go there and turn up some dust, you know, and just kick up some dust, you know, and just put his name in the hat for that lottery. You know what I'm saying?
Go out there and make some money.
Yeah,
I wonder what the payout's going to be, because did you see that, you know, Jake Paul made like 1.5 million and Anderson
made 500.
Yeah, so I wonder if Nate, since he's maybe got a little bit more of a name, it's going to be a little bit more equal, or if they're still going to pay Jake more.
It depends how much money he's got in the bank, Nate is. So.
And was that a flat rate, or was the extra, like, did they add a little bit more because Jake won?
I don't know about that.
I don't either.
Who knows?
Probably not, to be honest.
Yeah,
not,
once you get to big numbers like that, like when you're first starting the UFC, it's like half and half, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like
you got to win.
How do you feel about that, by the way? How do you feel about the win bonus? Because like you can give you're not trying to lose, you know? Like like I don't know, I've heard mixed opinions about that, where it's like an incentive to win, but you're not going to go in there not trying to win.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not going to not try to win.
You know, I think it varies from person to person, because I think there is some people that just go out there and, like, you know, that extra whatever, like they start signing people at the extra 12,000.
Even in the UFC though, like you've made it to the top, you've shown that you're going to scrap, you've shown that you're going to dedicate your life to the sport. Do you think even at that point there are some people that are going to be like, well, I'm going to get paid this much, like I'm going to take my foot off the gas pedal?
You know, I think there's like a middle ground. Like maybe if you win, you get like a little extra. You know, maybe it doesn't have to be 50-50.
Knockout bonus, win bonus.
That's a lot. That's like life changing. Rather, especially like I think people get signed off Contender Series at 12-12. So it's either you're walking home with 12 grand or 24 grand. And like someone like, you know, starting their career, you know, can live off 24 grand for a year if they get injured and they're out. But no one can live off 12 grand for a year if they get injured. You know?
No, not pleasantly anyway.
Yeah,
that would suck.
I like a win bonus. I like a finish bonus. I like just give them a flat rate, and if they finish,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Finish. That's a great idea. I've never thought about that. A finish bonus.
And then just have it set so like, oh yeah, if you go out there and finish, you get like a percentage of your purse.
Yep.
On top of it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
And that would be an incentive for all these like guys that like to go to decision to go out there and finish their guys.
Like the PFL does it in a point system where you get more points for a finish versus a decision. Like could kind of be the same thing in the UFC, where if you get a finish, you get this 25% bonus of your purse.
I like that. That was a good idea.
That is a good idea. Dang. Dana, you hear that?
Dana.
I think Dana he wants to be in charge of that too. He doesn't want them to be making so much money. He wants to have the ability to say, oh, this guy really put on a crazy performance, I'm going to give him a bonus. You know what I'm saying? I think Dana gets a little bit of joy.
But he can still do that.
Out of giving people bonuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the guy, I'm the head honcho. You went out there and you finished a guy in spectacular fashion. Here's your money for doing that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, because he's at the end of the day, he's a fan and he wants to see people go out there and put it all on the line and finish fights. So
true. I mean, obviously, like that one guy that chugged the Hallerhead,
just 5,000 casually.
Yeah, that's
nothing for him. You know?
That's a wild story. Fuck.
Yeah, that was funny, but he just loves giving. Like, and I think he likes to, you know, he likes the feeling of like changing someone's life, and so you give someone 50 grand. That's a life changing amount of money for,
especially on these young up and comers like that have never seen that much money in their lives.
Yeah,
like that's a lot.
And that's just like one night of fighting, and you're expecting maybe like a 20 grand win, 24 grand. And you go out there, put on a great performance, and now it's 74. You're like, what the fuck?
Now you're getting a new whip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
how does
that make you feel? Because that's a reality to you. Like, has it changed? Of just like that could be me. Like,
there's
a greater chance of like that's me. That's literally me now.
Well, yeah, when I go out there and like train and I envision my fight, because I'm a very visual person, and I envision what my fight's going to be like. I go out there and visualize myself getting this performance of the night and making a highlight reel, so I can go out there and get not only 50 grand but build my legacy and kind of grow that way.
Fuck, and add to that highlight reel.
Exactly. I need to build a highlight reel in the UFC especially if I want to be at this top level and fight these guys, you know, at the top of the heap. I got to build a reel.
What's the first thing you're going to buy with your 50 grand extra?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You're going to get iced out. You're going to get a grill.
Pay off the house.
No, I want to see you with some grills, dog.
Maybe I'll get some like gold fangs.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. Nice. No, for sure. I'll probably get a new car. You know, I need a new car.
What you want to drive?
Dude, I love Audis. I'm a European guy. Me and my brother have been at Euro
Those
cars.
They're clean too.
So clean.
Yeah.
When you drive them, you don't even feel a little gravel rock. You know, you just smooth.
Yeah, exactly. And so I actually have a Volkswagen. I got a 2011 Volkswagen TDI, and so I want to get like a newer version. You know, maybe I love the GTIs, maybe a GTI or an R series.
Fuck. That's so close. That's right at your fingertips right now,
so
dude.
Close.
What are you? We're 18 days out from your UFC debut.
Yes, sir. UFC debut 18 on the November 19th.
Everybody can watch it. That's going to be on ESPN, right?
Yep, ESPN.
Everybody
ESPN
can watch in November 19th. Watch. It's a Spokane boy is making his UFC debut. He's tried and true, grown up, gotten his reps in Spokane in this regional circuit. And he's doing it big. He's following his dream. Be sure to tune in. Watch him get this 50K bonus. Everybody tweet Dana White.
Yeah.
Once he gets this crazy. How do you expect?
What do you know about your
this?
opponent? First, real quick. What do you know about him? Have you studied him? Do you know his style?
Yeah. So his name's Fernie Garcia. He
sounds like a bitch.
All respect Fernie Garcia, but maybe I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see November 19th. But yeah, he's good boxer, got good hands. He's really good in the pocket. A lot of his older fights, he's like got submissions, but it seems like more he gets submissions because he tires the guy out, or he rocks him, takes him down, and then I see him like having really good hands, probably a good wrestling. You know, you're in the UFC, you probably got to be pretty good at everything. But yeah, that's pretty much what I see from him. You know, good hands and good sprawls. That's about it.
How do you see yourself doing this fight? Yeah.
You know, I see myself, wherever it goes, I feel like I'm going to be good. You know, one of the things I didn't showcase, I feel like in my last fights, because I had my torn ACL, because, I fought the whole season with the torn ACL, was my stand-up. I had no, like, explosiveness off my right leg, which is my, power leg. And so one of the things is I'm going to be able to showcase a lot more of my striking and, get to show everyone a little bit more of that.
I think the fact that you were able to do what you did on The Ultimate Fighter with that injury is just like... that just proves that you belong in the UFC and that you are going to go very far in this sport. And I think the sky's the limit. Man.
Yeah, with my team behind me, I feel like we're unstoppable. So
yeah, the best in the world. Exactly. How close is the new gym being? When will the new gym open up at Sick?
I don't know if we have a for sure, date.
It's going to be more of a compound than a gym, right?
Yeah.
From the pictures right now, it looks massive.
It's so big. It's crazy. I don't know the exact square feet, but it's huge. Just like a little strip mall almost.
And right now, you guys have, what, a 3-car garage?
4-car garage.
4-car garage. All right. Sorry, Rick.
Yeah, but yeah, so he has like this Airbnb he rents out, and then it's a 4-car garage. And so we train out of, this 4-car garage with old wrestling mats and some wall pads. But behind it, he's building this huge facility, 2 stories. I don't even know how big, but yeah, it's built, so the frame's up, it has walls, has garage doors, all that good stuff. He just has to put the siding on, which that's going on here soon, and then build out the interior. So I don't know the exact dates, but it should be here in the next year.
Yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be, it's gonna be the spot here in Spokane.
Yeah.
We'll have to, me and you will have to come out there and get him some content.
Hell yeah.
Film out.
Yeah,
there
that'd
for
be
you.
awesome. You guys are more than welcome to come out.
Yeah,
You can
gotta-
even come and get some rolls.
Yeah.
Get back to your roots. A little bit of wrestling, some bear wrestling.
Something like
Damn.
that.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, we got to get your social medias popping.
Yeah.
Get those
Yeah.
dope photos.
Let's go. We'll be in there probably this week, maybe early next week before it's like crunch time for you.
Yeah.
And just get some extra
When do you
content.
fly out to Vegas?
The Tuesday, they usually fly people out the Tuesday before the fights.
Damn.
Have you ever trained any jiu-jitsu or anything like that?
Very little. Very, very little.
Yeah.
That's some content
I
right
would
there,
get
baby.
my ass handed to me. That's all I got to say.
Everybody does at the beginning.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, right?
I love the sport. I love everything about it. Yeah, I'm just a little bitch.
You're a black belt at
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu now, right?
No, I'm still a brown belt.
You're still a brown belt. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. This was probably 2.5 years ago at SVBJJ, and I would roll with you. This was like my first time ever rolling in a gi.
Crazy. It's almost been 4 years because I've almost
4 years.
Yeah, I've almost been with Sig for 4 years.
Holy cow, man!
So,
Time,
Have
times
you
are
guys
flying
fought on the
lately.
same cards?
We had to have.
Well, I think so because I was
We've
like,
had to have.
yeah, I've definitely been at your fights.
Yeah.
for sure. We
Between the hub and King of the Cage,
yeah, something
we've
like
had
that.
to have.
I remember when
you're
you
just so locked in to if you're fighting, you're just so locked in. You can't really think about anything else.
yeah,
you know?
it's funny because I was actually looking because obviously I watch all of the Conquest the Cage, and one suggested one came up, and I'm like, oh, I fought on the card. I click on it to kind of find my fight, and I found out Alvin fought on the same card.
Oh no way!
And I sent it to him like, bro, we fought on the same card like 4 years ago.
yeah, that's tight. Coming full circle.
That's funny. That whole story, man. I'm telling you, Conquest of the Cage. I feel like if the media just like, there's so many little underlining stories that are being told. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like in these lower level regional promotions, and I want to help tell those stories, those little ones.
Yeah.
To give people, content to help them get into the UFC. Give their social medias going, but. And
Yeah,
to just
well, it
tell
seems
the
like you're doing a
story.
good job. You were at the last fights videotaping for what was his name? He was in the main event.
Elijah.
Yeah,
He was
Elijah.
fighting Chance.
Yeah, he lost to Chance Haskins in the title.
That was
fight.
a hell of a fight.
Amazing
He was
fight.
very
Hell of a
close to
fight,
winning
yeah.
it.
And
Dude,
it's only his third fight, so it's like, yeah, he's got so much potential.
When Chance pulled that out, or like,
Yeah,
because it was so
25
close,
seconds,
it was coming out to the third round, and
Yeah.
I it was so close, but yeah, Chance had a heart for that fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was not looking the best for either guy, but I was like, damn, and then he pulled
Yeah.
out that what was it, TKO at the end?
Yeah. And if it went to a decision, I think Elijah would have won. So
I honestly,
he
I
had
would agree with you,
25
yeah.
seconds, yeah. And as a videographer, I'm filming for Elijah, and it's like I filmed the whole fight. I have that shot of of the TKO, of the finish, and it's just like I just watch it. I'm just like, damn.
But it's such a good piece of content.
Yeah, so it's
just-
like it's real, like that's what happens. So
It
it's
is, yeah.
that's your
That's
job.
That's
to see
the
what
risk
happened.
that you take is being finished and having that be on film.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that can happen in so many different ways, so many scary ways, and but then again, you're trying to build your highlight reel too, so you don't want to end up on someone's highlight reel. You don't want to be, it is what the fight game is. Just I don't even know where
Yeah, well, that's why it's the craziest sport in the world, right? It's
Unreal.
like
It really is.
it's you either win or you lose, and like you said, you can be the highlight or you can be on the highlight.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
got to build from there.
Crazy.
But yeah,
Hell yeah, we're stoked. Yeah, November 19th, everybody tune in, ESPN. Brady's going to be making his UFC debut. Why don't you go ahead and tell them where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so-
give them a follow, everybody.
yeah, appreciate it. So Brady _ Bam Bam's my Instagram. Brady Hiestand 1's my Twitter. Facebook, obviously Brady Hiestand. Yeah, go follow me for all that content, and yeah, I appreciate all the support from you guys. I appreciate being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a while. Obviously, we trained 4 years ago now. and
Yeah.
Been in the scene. I've known you for a while. I've only known you for a little bit, but it's good to-
We'll make some more happen, and
Yeah.
good luck, man. All the best. This is your time. I truly believe that, and go take this guy's head off, November.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we're
it.
stoked. We're stoked to watch you, man. Bambi, go ahead and tell them where they can find you, find your content, Alpha Grand.
I am at the Great Bambi 42. I'm working with AGTV right now. We'll put everything in the description. We good. We can close it out.
Yeah, November 19th, tune in, and we might have a follow-up video. We're planning to do kind of a UFC embedded type thing, and kind of get this whole process, and we'll follow back in with a highlight reel and talk to him after he gets his dub.
Let's go.
All right,
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Peace out. We out.